Thank you so much for joining us for your morning cup of gratitude. My name is Joel Gackle, and I serve as the Senior Director of Alumni Engagement here at Augustana University. And we know now is not a time where you can join us on campus, but we feel so fortunate to bring these stories into your home. With me today is Jillian Stamp. Jillian is a senior from Sioux Falls, double majoring in biology, as well as government and international affairs. Jillian, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, Jillian, one of the things our donors often love to hear is what's the story of our students before they arrive at campus? And so what did that look like for you?
Yeah, well, as you said, I'm a Sioux Falls native, born and raised. So I always kind of knew Augie and knew the name and remember driving by or going to games at the Elman Center and kind of aspiring to one day be a Viking. But I knew it was a prestigious school. They had high standards. And so part of my career getting to Augie involved a lot of rigorous coursework at high school and applying for lots of scholarships and things like that. And so it was a familiar place to me, but it had always been a goal of mine to go to Augie.
And with that, how did you decide that you wanted to double major in biology as well as government and international affairs?
Yeah, that's a good question and not an uncommon one because they're kind of an unlikely duo. But I've always been interested in healthcare and going into a career as a physician. And but I've also always had a passion for politics and government. And so I knew that at least when I started at Augie, I wanted to try to pursue both of them and see how it went. And I thought always, you could always drop one or the other. I just wanted to kind of explore each area. And Augie has been such an awesome place to combine these two passions and just kind of let them play together and see what happens. And so I pursued both of them initially because of my passion, and then I've been able to maintain them because of my growth in my passion in both areas. And so I'm planning after Augie to go to med school, hopefully, but I also hope to keep engaging my knowledge of political science and government as well.
So beyond med school, what are some of the other interests that you potentially have post Augustana?
Yeah. Well, I've also considered becoming an attorney. So I have interest in both healthcare law and policy and public health, epidemiology, things like that. But I also would like to be a physician. So right now I'm considering medical schools and MD PhD programs, but even if I do end up going to med school, outside of that, I hope to still stay engaged in government and politics and things like that.
Well, Jillian, you are an incredible example of the liberal arts. And what do the liberal arts mean to you?
For me, I didn't even really know what liberal arts was until I started looking into Augie. And I was excited about the idea of just being able to kind of incorporate all sorts of different disciplines while still studying an emphasis area, whether that be, your major or even if you have a concentration within your major. And so I think to me, the liberal arts is the opportunity to explore the world and understand the world on multiple different levels instead of just getting into your major, focusing on one thing. You can kind of entertain all the other components that still play into your major, but maybe other schools don't allow you to see the network of connections that exist in the world. And I think this is particularly true in the sciences and something that can be problematic when we don't consider the ethical components or I know Augie recently got a medical humanities minor. It's so important to understand patients or subjects as people, and knowing the sociology or the psychology or just the humanity in people and understanding that on a deeper level to me is super important. So I think the liberal arts to me is being able to explore and gain knowledge in all of these different areas while still allowing them to contribute to your ultimate goal of your vocation.
So in addition to your rigorous academic load, you've also been involved in a variety of activities. Can you share some of those and how you make time and balance that?
Yeah, I really, really, really have enjoyed my time with the Augie community and just meeting people who are so intellectual, compassionate, who love to serve others in the same way that I do. And so that has really gotten me wrapped up in a lot of service at Augie, which is through Serving and Learning Together, our volunteer organization. And that has probably been my largest commitment. I absolutely love the way that we can bring service to students on campus. We can take students out into the community when things aren't crazy with COVID, and meet the needs of the Sioux Falls community. I think we're so lucky to have Sioux Falls as a home, and anything we can do to give back to the members of the Sioux Falls community is important to me. But I've also involved myself in both like clubs in both of my majors. And so I think that's important, just to like meet people in those areas and talk to them about their interests and tell them about mine, hear from speakers, work on service in those areas. So I have been really involved. I think I have a lot of interests, and that has contributed to that. In terms of time, there's never enough time. So I think the best way to manage it all is to make sure you're extensively planning things out. I use a planner religiously and rely on that to keep me in the loop of what I have going on that day. But of course it's busy, but it's worth it. And it's a time in my life where I want to try everything and be involved in as much as I can, because I know like in my career later on, I won't have these same opportunities necessarily. And so I'm trying to take advantage of all that Augie has to offer, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
So many guests can't come to campus to see what's happening. Can you share a little bit about what Augustana looks like this fall living in these uncertain times?
Yeah. Surprisingly, I don't think it has changed a ton. There are a few new additions that are really exciting, and I kind of hope that they will stick around after COVID even clears out. There's a new dining area in the basement of the Froyland Science Center building that I really appreciate, where you can just kind of pick up grab and go snacks. So that's something that's kind of new on campus, and that I think has made life a little bit more convenient for students so that they don't have to pack into the dining hall. The other things, I guess, are more related to COVID. Yeah, just some plexiglass, things like that to keep us safe. A lot of distancing reminders on the floor and things like that. But I think the biggest difference has just been, making sure that in the classrooms we're separated out. And there's not a lot of changes going on campus. I feel like, oddly, as much as you would think that things have changed, I think Augie has done a really nice job of like making it feel very still natural and still feel like Augie.
I tell people that the difference is this year with masks, you see people smile with their eyes versus people smiling from before.
Yes, you definitely can notice that.
So what have these scholarships meant to your life here at Augustana, and how would it have looked differently without them?
Yeah. So I was really lucky in high school that my counselor was very straightforward with me about the process of applying for scholarships and making Augustana possible for me. I come from a family where neither of my parents are college graduates, so I'm a first-generation college student. And Augie, frankly, like if the sticker price were the price that every student paid, just wouldn't have been possible for me. And so I think the scholarships have not only like eased my mind in the sense that I am not going to have to walk away with nearly as much debt as I would have had to if I took out loans for all of my academic costs that I've incurred, but also which is so nice because that allows me to focus on my academics, all of these incredible clubs I've been able to be involved in, my individual volunteer work, all of that. But it's also allowed me to just take on a work study job instead of having to work somewhere part-time or full-time outside of the Augie community, which again is so nice because they're so flexible with me. And if I have a test that week, I can make up those hours somewhere else. Frankly, the scholarships have allowed me to even be at Augustana, let alone eased my mind in a lot of ways about what life will look like post-graduation and how I've been able to kind of study multiple areas and be so involved at Augie because I don't have to work nearly as hard as I would have had to if I hadn't got the scholarships I got.
We certainly have an incredible community of donors who make Augustana a reality. Is there anything else you'd like to share with them about the support they offer to you and so many of our students?
Yeah, I think the community of alumni is so robust and just incredible. I always enjoy when they can be on campus. So, like you said at the outset, it's unfortunate that we haven't been able to see any of them, but it's always been so nice to interact with them, meet with them. I've gone to a number of the luncheons that you've hosted for alumni. It's honestly, they make this community what it is, because I know that I'm not the only student that's in the position that I'm in where financially Augustana may not have been possible for me without the help of scholarships. And so I think that a lot of what we love and know about Augustana can be attributed to the generosity and kindness of our alumni. And I really hope that they can take from this my sincere gratitude and appreciation for all that they've given to our community, both in their work in the community as a whole, where they've often allowed us to come and intern or shadow with them or do things like that in different career areas, all the way down to, like you said, financial donations and allowing an Augie education to be possible for people like me.
Well, Jillian, thank you so much for joining us today and for reminding us that we do have a lot to be grateful for. I wish you all blessings who are watching this today. And until next time, thank you so much and have a great day.